All right, greetings. Welcome back to Blackburn News, where everything is connected. How are y'all doing? Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Gonna get right into covering some things because I don't know, just without going too far deep into anything. I just have a lot going on, so I cannot run over. In fact, I'm probably going to have to end a little bit earlier today. Let's start off by saying if you enjoy this show, and if you enjoy the show being free, if you enjoy watching the show without any paywalls or anything like that, please consider supporting the show financially, because it really, really helps to keep me going and keep the show going. There are many days when I'm so overwhelmed that I don't know if I have, if I ponder whether it's makes any sense to do the show, but it doesn't, the show brings a lot of people something, and it brings me something, so I keep on doing it. But it really helps when people do contribute financially. It really makes it more a viable endeavor, if you know what I mean. Anyways, there's lots of links in the description box. If you want to donate, those are the best ways to donate. The very best ways are the direct donation links in the description box. So all those who donate on a regular, you know who you are, and I appreciate you. Still ongoing issues from Hurricane Milton. These are linemen working in chest deep water at the Withlacoochee. Hold the jokes, please. Withlacoochee River. Working on getting power restored. Florida's linemen are chest deep in water wading through the flooded Withlacoochee River to restore power after Hurricane Milton's impact. This is from October 15th. But we'll watch a little bit. This guy looks very annoyed to be there. You see that guy's face? He's like, Jesus.
I don't know what other thing is.
This sucks. His whole face is saying, oh my God. Oh my God. This sucks. What happened to William on the it's weird. William said what's up in the Rockfin chat, and then he disappeared. Or at least, did I imagine it? I don't know. Yeah. What's up, Rockfin people? We're live. These are the platforms we're live on. Rockfin, YouTube, and Rumble for now. Those lineups may change. But for now, subscribe to those channels for this program. Like and subscribe. Steven Donziger. Wait, I think I'm skipping something. Let's go back to am I skipping something here? Yeah. Skipping something in the hurricane wrinkle of hurricane aftermath news. This is from Jack Danger, and they're saying we have video evidence of what we've been saying all along. The hurricane was a land grab for the lithium and white quartz. Well, I don't know what he's saying. He's not directly saying that that's what's happening. But what he's saying is interesting. It does have, merit on the basis of, what does that mean? North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper says some areas you shouldn't build back You just shouldn't build back. We've been able to convince people that buyouts are better, is what he says. Now, if you're thinking, I mean, I don't know. If you think that some places are unrecoverable, that some places shouldn't, are just going to be prone to disasters over and over again, right? If you think the world is warming and there's going to be, an increase in the severity and number of extreme weather events, and if that's if everywhere is susceptible to that, then why build anything back? Would be some of the logic. But I don't know. We're talking about mountain towns. We're talking about a mountainous area that, I mean, I assume this is what he's talking about. I assume he's talking about the places that were flooded, Asheville and the like. If we're talking about mountainous areas, I mean, you wouldn't think that those are like high risk areas and that they shouldn't be built back, because this is, those are the places where you thought that, people moved there because they thought it was going to be safe. We saw that video of the guy saying, no, this is the best place to be. Right? But I don't know. What does he mean by this? Sorry.
People that buyouts are better, and you create groups. We work with them. We have plans for local governments. In some areas, you just shouldn't build back.
Mhm.
And we've been able to convince certain communities and people that buyouts are better, and you create groups.
Okay, well, that's, I mean, this it looks like it's coming from the New York Times Climate Forward. And he says in some areas maybe you shouldn't build back. If you're talking about coast, North Carolina is also a place that has been hit by rising seas, right? Did the rapture happen? No rapture. I think it's just Friday, man. North Carolina is one of the places where coastal real estate has been impacted by rising oceans, because the oceans are rising, right? It's pretty verifiable. Even the climate deniers will tell you that the oceans are rising. So if he's just talking generally, I don't know that this is proof of a land grab, right? Just taking this clip that could be being taken out of context. But the only thing that I'll say about this is some people were saying, is he talking about Appalachia? Is he talking about specifically this area? We don't know that. You can't really tell that from this clip. So it's kind of misleading. But somewhat misleading where this clip could have been taken from and what it's referencing. But some people were claiming that they were trying to buy them out. I've seen a lot of conflicting video. There have been people out there saying, going to certain places in North Carolina and saying, like, nobody's taking anybody's donations and nobody's taking anybody's stuff and nobody's restricting anybody from coming up here. There's been a few of those. I've only seen 2, possibly 3 of those videos of people going like, no, there's no weirdness going on here. I've seen a whole lot more, way more videos of people saying, there's funny business going on. Way more videos. So does that instantly make that one side of the story true? No, but I mean, it kind of lends to more credibility on the side of there's funny business and there's dereliction of duty at the very least on the government's part. And I actually saw, I saw yet another video of somebody saying that they had their property requisitioned by FEMA for, emergency relief. I saw another person say that they actually were shutting down local donation centers, saying like, you can't, that's it. You're not passing out this stuff. You're not accepting any more donations. Another, pretty credible alternative journalist who's in the area said that they were shutting down donations. So it seems like that kind of weird hinky stuff is absolutely going on, because you just wouldn't have, especially like this far out, from it, you wouldn't have people continually making videos going like, hey, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. And I've only seen Lahaina 2.0, maybe. I've only seen, a small number of people going in and going, everything's great. There's nothing wrong here. And everybody's just trying to build back better. That's, goes again. Those videos, I think, are trying to, explain away the, the quote unquote conspiracy theorists. But I see way more videos of people crying foul. And so it does seem like there's weird stuff going on to that extent. I saw I'm not going to play it today, and I don't think I'm going to go into it because I didn't really have enough time to research it and look at it. But I did see on another channel, it was actually Jim Lee, who I played on this channel before. Jim Lee talking about, we've talked about Project Cirrus and Project Storm Fury. There were actual experiments in controlling hurricanes. That is not a conspiracy. That is actual fact, and that the government did actually try to see if they could lessen the severity, or steer or control or whatever hurricanes. And I saw on this other channel that they just released something that was classified just this year, that they had actually steered several hurricanes into Cuba during the 60s. That was very interesting. And I was like, oh, I just heard it, and I didn't have time to okay, do a search, find the article, find the claim, see where this is actually coming from, and is this real? Like, I just didn't have time for that. I'm going to try and do it this weekend. But the other thing I heard from the same person was, and I want to verify this as well before I bring it up, but it's interesting. Apparently there was a hurricane drought for 10 years during pretty much the Obama administration from 2005 to 2017. Has anybody heard of this? Basically in a 10-year period, 5 years had 0 hurricanes making landfall, and another 5 years had, maybe one a year making landfall, possibly 2. So it was like it was a very low period of hurricane activity. And I'm sure, okay, that happens. Natural, climate change, the climate is always changing, natural variability, sure. We could chalk it up to that. But he was just pointing out the coincidence of and then I guess he said, right, 2017, the first year Trump took office, there were 3 major hurricanes that made landfall, like Harvey, Irma, and I don't know, there was another one. And I was like, oh, that is interesting. Right? You had Katrina in 2005, and then you had a 10-year kind of like hurricane, like a lull. And then you had like a bunch of hurricanes hit in 2017. So that's very interesting. Who knows? Maybe it doesn't mean anything. I don't know. But I kind of wanted to look into that before I even like really brought it up. I will say though, to go back very briefly to the contrail argument, thing we were talking about. That was the year 2017 was the year that the contrails stopped. Right, I've been watching them for years. I'd been watching contrails, happening like every single day for years and they're very heavy contrails. And all of a sudden they stopped for 3 months, and that's when I realized, okay, these are not natural, because there's no way. Air traffic didn't stop. A kind of the weather wasn't like so wonky that it would never create conditions for contrails. That doesn't make any sense either, right? Because you'd have to you'd have to say like, well, some days the conditions would be present, if they were naturally coming out of planes. So if you don't see any for 3 months straight, not one in the sky for 3 months, then you got to go like, okay, well, clearly they're made because they're not, clearly they're controlled, or they're not just accidental, because in 3 months, the weather, you would expect some conditions to present themselves, but they didn't. So I was like, oh, this is actually more of a confirmation, the lack of contrails, than anyways, whatever. Going South said, if it wasn't for COVID, I wouldn't believe such claims. Yeah. COVID did a number on people, and it also woke a lot of people up. COVID was like a 9/11 for a lot of people, right? 9/11 really, and 9/11, I think, was my first. I don't know. No, I've always been, pretty fairly skeptical. I've gone through waves in my life of like more skepticism and less skepticism, more, you know, I don't know. I don't want to call it conspiratorial thinking, but more um heavily aware of like, you know, that um that strange things are afoot. And then there have been times in my life when I was less clued into it. I was less aware, and I was just, not, I was just more like, whatever. Um, but 9/11, and then like kind of post Obama, I kind of went back to sleep for just a little bit more. 9/11 woke me up, and then I was like, yeah, Obama got in office, and just for a few years there, I was just kind of drifting around. I was just like really working a lot, playing a lot of music. And I wasn't super clued into like, I don't know. I think I was just trying to live like a normal life or something, I think I was just trying to just do regular person things, and I just wasn't like super clued into it. Although I was keeping I was keeping like a climate change journal while I was on the road, thoughts about it and whatnot. Going South says JFK. Yeah, JFK. I mean, you see sometimes it's like you see these things happening, and you're like, oh yeah, that does look really weird. And then you can kind of just be like, you can just kind of get over it and shrug it off. But it was 9/11, and then and then the kind of the reemergence of like 9/11 truth over the last few years, and all kinds of other things that were going on that made me go, oh. But COVID was um absolutely, obviously, um a big fast psyop, right? Huge, huge. And a lot of people, became awake they were like, wait a minute. Hold on. This is no. This is a no for me, dog. Anyways. Uh okay, Stephen Donziger. Let's move to this. He's Stephen Donziger, famously the victim of lawfare won a case against Chevron, then became Exxon. Exxon basically hired a courtroom to convict him, and he was placed on house arrest and, basically litigated into basically, slapped around legally for his work in trying to hold Chevron accountable. So there's a new lawsuit against Greenpeace. Let's listen to this, which is interesting because you hear it's always interesting to me, when people say there's no, it's like, oh, climate change isn't real, and so why are these people protesting, and if they're just silly and they're all like operatives from, but I'm like, if if these people weren't, I mean, people that fight for climate justice, climate activists get, some of the worst treatment by the government, by government, police, military, Dakota Access Pipeline, anybody. The people that are fighting for the forests in Canada, on the west coast of Canada, right? They're the victims of some of the worst treatment. They're arrested, jailed, beaten, bullied, killed. In South America, they just kill you, right? Not a lot of people find the death sentence for being an environmental activist up here, but they sure get, they get thrown in jail. You get RICO charges, like the people fighting against Cop City. So it's, why all this action from the powers that be? Why are they so intent on destroying these people and destroying their voices and destroying their activities? Earth First famously was pretty much stomped into the ground. They did not like, Earth First was like enemy number one, and it's, they're not really, you don't really hear about them much anymore. So if, environmentalism isn't a thing, isn't a thing that people should be worried about. I mean, I think, and then for some people, there might be a distinction between climate change and environmentalism, right? They think the climate change narrative being used by the elites in order to gain more control and power and all that kind of stuff is different from actually caring for the environment. Ding, 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 ding. I get that. I think a lot of people get that. But the idea that, all these protesters and activists are loonies and like just paid out, stop it. Just stop that. That's horseshit. Like, I don't want to hear that shit from people. Like, cállate, you know what I mean? Like, fucking, where's your sense of brotherhood with people who are fighting for the planet or fighting for, righteous causes and righteous actions? Don't do that. Don't do that. All right, let's listen. All right, that's interesting. It's interesting because oh shoot. You know, if Greenpeace uh I lost like a whole bunch of things. Again, I'm not that clued into like, I know Greenpeace is out there doing Greenpeace things, right? And some people think that they're bullshit organization, they're a front, people think of Greenpeace like they think of the Red Cross, like, did I lose sound? I did. Anybody else can confirm that? Because nothing really changed for me. Can somebody else confirm if there's no sound? Hello? 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 Check. Oh, I'm okay. All right. Anyways, I was gonna say, if Greenpeace was such a bullshit organization, like why would they be getting this lawsuit? Why would they be getting, why do they get harassed so often? Um, and it seems like there are people that are part of the organization that are genuinely like trying to do good work. So I don't, um, I okay, you can hear me. Cool. Um, it just seems like they're, like they're trying. I don't know. I don't know if they're. I hear stuff like that about other environmental organizations. I mean, I think kind of like there are some that are some that are absolute like hogwash, and like the Sierra Club is like, goofy, right? Because the Sierra Club will send you like a mountain of a big envelope stuffed with like mountains of paper and crap and plastic, trying to get donations. It's like, okay, maybe don't. Oh, Donziger got muted. Donziger got muted. We didn't hear the speaking man. Oh, all right, thanks. Can you hear him now? Let me know if you can hear him now. Oh, thank you, thank you. Does it have sound now? Please let me know. Somebody No? Oh, weird. Okay, sorry. I don't know. Let's see. Stop sharing. Let's try it again. We'll try it again. Okay, now let me know if you hear the
to
sound.
try to bring down the entire. I am stunned at how few people know about this critically important attack on the environmental movement. This case is the biggest threat, in my opinion, to the environmental movement in United States history. We must protect Greenpeace. The case that Energy Transfer has filed.
I know that there's a little lag, so I'm playing him now one more time again. Let me know if
Against
you can hear him,
Greenpeace
if you
is
can't
an
hear him.
example of what we call a slap
One more time.
harassment
If you
lawsuit.
can't hear
It is
him,
not a
let me know.
legitimate lawsuit. It is a lawsuit designed to exploit the procedural process of our legal system to essentially
Yes. Okay,
punish
great.
a litigant for speaking out against the company. These slap lawsuits are part of a new corporate playbook invented by the fossil fuel industry and their law firms to try to bring down the entire environmental movement. People need to wake up and understand that the law is being weaponized by corporations in this way to try to silence activists from speaking out against corporate abuse, from speaking out against the harms caused by climate change, from holding corporations accountable for pollution, for harm they cause to indigenous peoples. The very idea that a pipeline company can just file a lawsuit and use the process of the lawsuit, which is played out now over several years, to try to bring down one of the most storied environmental groups of the United States and the world, is outrageous. Greenpeace is the heart and soul of the environmental movement in the United States. We need to protect Greenpeace.
Okay. Well, you guys heard what he had to say, and you already heard what I have to say about Greenpeace. So I don't think I need to repeat myself. But again, if Greenpeace is a bullshit organization, why would they be getting lawsuits? Why would they get harassed as they are? It seems kind of like a waste of of resources, right? If it's fake. Anyways, that's happening. What else is happening? Okay, I'm playing this. People might have an issue with me playing this, but I'm gonna play it because I think it's interesting. This is James O'Keefe. He does a lot of really cool, like undercover work. You all know who James O'Keefe is. He does those kind of honeypot catfish kind of interviews where he gets somebody to go out on a date with a mucky muck, right? Somebody goes out on a date with a monkey muck and they get them to spill their guts on camera, right? So this is interesting. He said what? Oh, F you fossil fuel bastards. Yeah. This is interesting because this is James O'Keefe sending somebody undercover to go get asylum in New York. And this is the reason why people are so pissed. The whole thing about, the government giving, money to FEMA or FEMA money to asylum seekers or migrants. It seems to be real, right? And it also is frustrating because they're forcing these people who have just gone through a disaster to like register on an app for help, right? To go jump through all these hoops for help. When they could just be getting, they could just hand out, here you go, give them stuff, give them relief right away. Here, you're here in the area. Here's some money. Here's some food. Here's a place to stay, period. Right. They're forcing people to kind of like jump through these hoops and register, blah, blah, blah. While people who are here illegally can just like flop in with no ID and actually be issued an ID. And this actually is a tie-in to the voting thing, which I was talking about. In some states, you can register to vote. You just need your ID. And what do you need to get an ID? As shown in this video, nothing. Just saying my name is whatever. My name is whatever, and here I am. Just give me an ID, and maybe I can, and possibly I can register to vote with this thing, right? Who knows? I'm not saying it's happening everywhere, and I'm not saying it's, as widespread as maybe people think it is, but you just need an ID to register in California. You don't need to be, and I know people are out there like, you gotta prove who you are. I don't know. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. You just have to have a place, prove you live somewhere, right? Have a place of residence or whatever. You don't even have to do that. You can have a absentee ballot with that. So there you go. Mail-in ballot, not that hard to get. An absentee ballot, not that hard to get. I actually got 2 ballots the last election. Erroneously. Obviously, I didn't use both of them. I only used one. But I was sent 2 ballots. That's interesting, right? Anyways, or 2 I had 2 registrations at 2 different addresses, something like that. Okay, let's watch this. And it's just interesting, and people are upset. I think for good reason, about this kind of stuff, and the questions that Brett Baer and other people had for Kamala and the Biden administration around this, I think are legitimate questions. Like, you guys created this problem. It's a huge problem. Everybody sees it's going on. Hey, this problem is so big. Eric Adams, mayor of New York City, was like, we can't take any more people. He's like, there are too many people here. We don't have the resources. Please stop sending them. Eric Adams said that out loud on a stage on a microphone. Okay. So don't tell me it's not a problem. Don't tell me like, oh, that's just, you're just bashing on people that can't take. No, it is a thing that people are. So it's such a big thing that the Democratic mayor of New York, Eric Adams, was like, we can't take this anymore. Please stop sending these migrants, please. Okay, that's not beating up on people. That's not belittling people. That's not making somebody a victim or, victimize. What am I saying? Not victimizing, but that's not like downing people. That's just saying here is a problem that people are concerned about. That's not, trying to like bash on people. That's just saying this is a legitimate issue that people find whatever. Anyways. Leo Serrano says in CA, you have to give your social security number to get an ID. I know because I live in. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. You can, however, get a temporary social security number. You know that. I've had a temporary social security number. Long time ago. Somebody just assigned me a number because I was in a situation where I needed. Anyways, whatever. Like, you can get. Anyways. Yeah, and you have to prove that you live somewhere, but I'm just saying it's not that hard to get an ID. And I'm going to play this video and show you how easy it is for this person to get an ID. Anyways, whatever. Let's watch this. We'll watch this. It's just interesting. I'm not saying like, let's watch. Hold on 1 second, guys. Hold on.
So I walk in, guy's like, okay, so what are you doing here? I'm like, oh, I'm looking for asylum, refugee status.
¿Tiene su documento de inmigración?
No, lo que le dije al señor que perdí todo en el camino entre Texas y Nueva York. No tengo nada.
Okay, ¿tú tienes un ID?
No tengo
No
nada.
tienes nada.
Nada.
And he was talking to, I guess, a supervisor. Yeah, just go ahead and register him.
Yes, register.
First thing on the clock?
Yeah, well,
Okay. Gracias.
He filled out a little sheet, gave me a wristband. He said, do you want refuge in New York? Or do you want us to fly you to another state or another city?
o sea, un vuelo. Vuelo, por ejemplo, si tú tienes familia hacia otro estado en el país, podemos comprar el boleto para ir a visitar a su familia.
Refugio está bien.
Okay, lo sé, al momento.
And he goes, oh, well, if you have family in like another city, we'll pay for your flight. The government will pay for it.
Después, si quiero vuelo, se puede.
Tú puedes estar aquí sin
Sí.
problema, sí. Y nosotros le van a comprar el boleto.
Buenísimo.
So in a post 9/11 America, a country can secure a taxpayer-funded plane ticket and receive a temporary ID.
I'm in the system. That's my number. And they gave me this. They had me sign it, and I was about to get the medical exam.
This paper, sir.
Yeah, this is kind of like, I guess this is kind of like my temporary ID for here.
You've got a temporary ID.
I guess.
Get into the place. These temporary IDs are used to gain entrance into homeless migrant shelters, including at a place called Randall's Island. Along the journey, I was looking for people with virtue, but it seemed around every corner was greed and graft and self-interest. I was filled with dread about what lay at the end of the Ward's Island Bridge, and yet there was a part of me that was looking for at least one glimmer of hope. Someone, anybody who had an ounce of integrity left
This is very
inside them.
dramatic.
But I would need to be
Oh my
punched in the
gosh.
gut a few more times. So this is where they end up right here. This footbridge right here takes you over to Randall's Island, where thousands of illegal migrants are currently housed. But right up here, you see the shelter and some workers there through the green fence. Hey guys, What is going on in there?
Shelter.
A shelter for who? Homeless migrants? Am I allowed to just go in there as an American citizen and get a bed?
You just got here. Today our first day, bro. In the gotta go around.
They're taking a We're just taking a walk.
No. I literally saw you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. What the am I doing? I'm taking a walk. Why would you curse at me like that? What the am I doing?
Are you good?
What are you doing?
Where are you?
I'm a citizen taking a walk through the soccer park.
Citizen trying to trespass.
How is it trespassing? I'm just on the side. How so?
What's that?
Hello. The NYPD are fans of ours, but they too aren't doing anything about the problems. Hey guys, how you doing?
How are you?
Nice to see you.
See you.
Yeah,
Investigations?
we're looking around here. Yeah.
Do you think, man? This is good. Penn City.
How many people are in there? Some couple.
About 4,000. They just come in and take advantage. Live off the fat.
Live off the what?
Live off the fat.
What does that mean? Like,
Well, like live off the fat of what the U.S. has to offer.
There's a guy like just smoking crack right there. it's crazy. Right there.
O'Keefe is a bit ridiculous.
I've never
isn't
seen
he?
anything like this in my life.
What the people voted for.
Anyways, yeah, O'Keefe is is obviously kind of a grandstander, but I don't know. Interesting video nonetheless. And you know, when you see things like that, it just, I think it makes people upset. People who are like, you know, working and having a hard time buying groceries and paying bills. It makes people a little bit. But I also think that this whole issue is intentionally politicized and it is polarizing, and they know that, and so on some levels they like to use that to get people all riled up, right? Okay, it's already late in the day again. You want to support the show, there are ways to do it in the description box. Let's look at this. I don't think I'm going to be able to read all of this. Leo says they should have sent O'Keefe's ancestors back to Ireland the minute they stepped foot here. The people of Martha's Vineyard sent them there? Okay. Yeah, it's the thing that a lot of I guess people who have been here a while seem to forget that they came from somewhere else too, right? True story. True story. I mean, honestly, to me, I'm not against giving people help. I think that people should get help if they're seeking asylum or seeking a better place to live, or I ain't against it. I think it's a wonderfully caring good Samaritan thing to do, but also give people help who need it, who are here and are working and citizens and all that. Like how about some Medicare for all? Right? How about make sure people have homes? How about make sure people can buy food? How about make sure, all that kind of stuff, basic needs would be great. So I think the government should help everyone. I see no problem with it. Okay, we're gonna read this just a little bit. No, I can't read the whole thing because it's long. Yeah, O'Keefe is a bit of a pompous pompous dude. But some of his videos are very interesting. The videos where he catches people talking, at dinner. I think Crowder is doing some of those videos now too. Steven Crowder. Those catfish videos. Some of those videos are really interesting because they get people, they get people eating and drinking and their tongue's a little loose and they start saying stuff and you're like, oh, okay. Well, the conspiracy is not a conspiracy, is it then? You guys really are thinking about this stuff and doing this stuff. And it really isn't like, I don't know what you're talking. Well, I have no idea what you're talking about. No, they actually are freaking talking about that. So some of his videos, I think some of the work he does is interesting and important, even though he is a goofball. But I think he tries to he's kind of doing, in my mind, in some ways he's kind of a WikiLeaks type. He's just trying to uncover, he's trying to kind of, see what's on the other side, get at the underbelly of things. And sometimes doing that can really piss people off. It can really piss people off, right? So, that kind of work, WikiLeaks, a lot of people thought Julian Assange was a hero, and then he released stuff about Hillary Clinton. He released stuff that suddenly people were on the other side of it. Oh, he's a villain. He's a bad man. Like, yeah, you release things, especially about people that you might identify with, right? They're on your side, they're on your team, and you release things about that maybe aren't as maybe don't paint quite such a nice picture, right? It can make people really angry. And that's what, O'Keefe is a ruck maker, muck raker. That's what I was trying to say. I think anyways, ruck maker or muck raker, whatever you like. Salt Lakers, yeah. I agree with you. Okay, I've been saying I was going to read this for like 5 minutes. An appeal to conspiracy theorists. The real conspiracy is capitalism. You are right, at least about the fact that there have been real conspiracies carried out by the government. The government itself has admitted that it lied about the effects of their atomic bomb tests on people nearby, the medical experiments they carried out on minorities, the experiments they carried out to try to brainwash civilians into being assassins, the extent to which they opposed the civil rights movement and attacked its leaders, COINTELPRO, they overthrew other peaceful democratic governments, the infiltration of the government into the media in the past. It's so funny to me. Oh, they don't do that anymore. No, they just they just found ways to hide it better. Oh, they don't do that anymore. Oh, well, it's okay. I hope you don't click on any links you get in your texts or your emails. Because seem awful gullible. You were right. If you think you can't trust corporations either, it is now widely accepted by historians that corporations have killed striking workers to shut down strikes. Corporations have hidden unsafe ingredients to keep making money every day, every single day, every single one. Corporations have bribed politicians, although in the US and the UK this is now legal. Right. So instead of cracking down on the bribery, they just made it legal. No, it's not against the law. Corporations have plotted to overthrow governments. Corporations secretly supported repressive governments. From these examples, we learn at least about these three things. You can't trust the government except to expand its power and to let the favored rich off the hook. You can't trust corporations except to try to sell you overpriced, badly made crap and pay politicians to keep it that way. You can't always trust the media, especially when it is owned by the rich and it is reporting on issues that may affect stock prices or upset the state. And there are limits to what it can and will cover. At the center of all these claims is the idea that the rich and powerful are conspiring against us. Fortunately for us, unlike some more dubious claims, this one is easily provable. This is the most important, most powerful conspiracy in the world today. It goes by the name of capitalism. Capitalism is the conspiracy. It is not lizard people. If there are any, they're capitalists too. It's not Freemasons, although many of them are capitalists too. It's not the deep state. Those behind the state are capitalists too. Capitalism is a conspiracy, and the conspirators are well known, well funded, and well placed. We know who they are because they tell us. They know what their plans are because they tell us. They tell us. That's the thing to know about conspiracies is they're, easily provable because they say them out loud. They say we're doing these things. We're thinking about doing these things. All the people that are like nanobots in the vaccines, that's crazy. Dude, there's a whole it was proved, they said out loud, this is what we're studying. Literally COVID-19 was something that they said out loud, like, this is what we're working on, these things. We're working on these viruses, like we're working on mutating them and making them more powerful and all that kind of. And everybody's like, no way, that's crazy. It's like they said they were doing it. Do you need, what do you need? You need to sleep better at night, I guess. Capitalism could not exist without a conspiracy. It requires a network of support that involves threats, moral compromises, and even punishment, confinement, and occasionally death for those who don't conform to it. It works hand in hand with the state to coerce and violently enforce the situation and silence dissenters. And it takes a government to guarantee the currency they created, to form the laws they enacted, and to maintain the borders of their country, which we didn't agree to be a part of. True story. That sounds like when I was a kid, I was, kid and a young adult. I was always very upset that like I was part of something that I didn't agree to. Like I didn't, I was just born into this space, and we have to all agree to these like ridiculous rules. And there are things called countries, which are like sports teams, and they all have these like imaginary walls around the countries. There actually is no wall. We've been, somebody's been trying to build a wall, but there's no walls between, there's no like natural walls, between countries. These are just imaginary constructs. It's just ridiculous, And so I always had an interesting thing. I really don't have time to read much more of this, but maybe I'll come back to it next week. A real conspiracy, you cannot believe every conspiracy. You can try, but some contradict each other, and some have been thoroughly debunked. So when someone brings up a conspiracy theory to me, personally, I have 4 tests to finding out if it may be true. Let's see what this is. Is it plausible? Does it conflict with proven facts? Is it likely or unlikely? It's pretty, I don't know, that's pretty nebulous. Is it possible? Is it theoretically tenable? Is it provable? Has it been proven already or have provable claims? Okay. Is it disprovable? Would it be possible to disprove it if it was false? Plausible. 300 years ago, philosophers didn't sit around and think up a new system and call it capitalism. It wasn't the result of trying every other system and saying, we finally found the best system, and it is capitalism. Economists didn't think to themselves, do you know it would really help most of humanity having a few people with capital to get the rest of humanity working for them? Ethicists didn't decide that it was in people's best interest to remove others' economic security, drive them off the land they live in, forcing them into factories and make them work for poor wages that barely pay the rent on the hovels they now have to live in. Yet promoters of capitalism today expect us to believe that you can have wondrous results from a few people owning nearly everything. I'm going to read this box here, and then I'll leave this for Monday. Capitalists claim capitalism promotes perfect competition. Reality, markets tend towards monopolies or oligopolies, stifling genuine competition. Capitalists claim the invisible hand efficiently allocates resources. Reality, vast wealth, inequality, and resource misallocation persists, with luxury goods prioritized over basic needs. Capitalists claim capitalism rewards hard work and innovation. Reality, inherited wealth and connections often matter more than individual merit or effort. And oftentimes that innovation is stolen or co-opted or bought out by the capitalists. Right? If you have truly something really revolutionary, like what's the thing that people with really good ideas have to do immediately? I mean, they tell you to copyright your work, but they also tell you to not tell anybody about the idea. That's the first rule in innovation is, mum's the word. Don't say nothing. This is top secret. Put it in a black box until you're ready to unleash it on the world. Free markets self-regulate effectively. Regular financial crisis and market failures require state intervention. Trickle-down economics benefits all. Wealth concentration at the top rarely trickles down to lower economic strata. What do we have now? The biggest wealth inequality gap ever. And that's since the trickle-down economics of Ronald Reagan and his ilk. Well, every president has been Ronald Reagan since Ronald Reagan. Every president has been a version of Ronald Reagan since Ronald Reagan. Even Obama said, my policies are that not unlike that of a moderate Republican. I'm closer to Reagan than, FDR. He said that on a microphone out loud with his own mouth. Go look it up. Capitalism fosters sustainable practices. Short-term profit motives frequently lead to environmental degradation. Consumer choice drives consumer quality improvements. Planned obsolescence and artificial scarcity are common business strategies. Capitalist competition drives down prices. Price fixing and market manipulation are recurring issues in many industries. Capitalism promotes individual freedom. Economic coercion often limits genuine freedom of choice for many. Minimal regulation leads to optimal outcomes. Lack of oversight often results in exploitation and systemic risks, also disasters. Private sector always outperforms public sector. Many essential services and innovations stem from public investment and research. Capitalism naturally corrects inequality. Without intervention, capitalist systems tend to exacerbate wealth disparities. What? You are here now. Why does my browser keep doing that? It's really annoying. Anyways, interesting. Maybe I'll come back to this next week. I just don't have any more time. But I hope you all found this particular episode interesting and informative. Maybe even slightly controversial, or maybe even, if you whether you liked any of the segments or didn't like any of the segments, let me know in the comment section. Go to the Telegram group and post links if you want to send me a link or send me something to think about. Go post it in the Telegram group, t.me/blackbearnewschat. It's in the description box below. Just click the link. Alrighty. Thanks, guys. Oh, let me make sure. If I have anybody to thank. I don't know. Don't think so as of yet. All right, y'all. Appreciate you. And until next time, peace.